The 2024-25 BYU basketball season is sort of underway now that we've had the blue and white scrimmage. Wasn't really a winner because they mixed teams between the first half and the second half, but gosh, there was so much to take away from this. I think for me, the number one thing I would say to BYU fans about today's scrimmage is there's already high expectations for this season in this program. Nothing we saw today, Mitch, would lessen those expectations.
No question. Egor Demin, he's as good as advertised. I mean, his passing ability was just next level. You could just feel it. I mean, the way that he passed the basketball was impressive. And Kevin Young in the post-game press conference, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he just said that his passing ability, and he pointed out that he comes from the NBA world, so he doesn't have much context with college, but he pointed out that it's kind of LeBron-like, LeBron James. And some of those outlet passes that you saw from Egor, really impressive and got his team on the move, in transition, and they had big plays. But as we have some kids come through.
It's a family place here at the Marriott Center.
Kanon Catchings, newcomer as well. He was big time with his three-point shooting. There was just a lot to like from the newcomers and also the returning guys too. I thought Richie Saunders was impressive.
Yeah, on the note of the returning guys, I thought they all looked improved. I think it's very clear this coaching staff that Kevin Young has put together, they're going to make guys better. Trey Stewart looked like a new man. He was decisive. He was getting to the rim. He was making open threes. We always knew he could defend, but now there was a new element to his offensive game. I don't know how much he's going to play, but the Trey Stewart we saw today is someone in spot duty who can help you win basketball games. You touched on Richie Saunders. Foose was hitting threes. Foose looked better.
They called him the Steph Curry. Dallin joked a little bit. Dallin did note that hasn't been seen much in practice. It should be noted.
The one guy, and look, I'm going to give him a pass because it's blue and white game. Trevenel struggled with his three-point shot. But I just came away feeling like, how are you going to play all these guys? There's more guys that are college basketball Big 12 playable and ready than you have minutes for, and that's a great problem to have.
Well, and Dallin Hall said it best. He's playing around NBA guys now. He's got Egor Demin. Mihailo Boskovic, I thought, looked very impressive in the first half, incredibly active. He came off the bench. This team just got a lot of options, a lot of different ways to attack teams. Kevin Young in the first half observed midcourt with Chief of Staff Doug Stewart. He was pen and paper taking notes. I'm curious what he was exactly writing on those notes. It'd be interesting to see. But in the second half, he did coach Team White, and their starting five in the beginning of that second half was Dallin Hall, Egor Demin, Richie Saunders, Kanon Catchings, and Keba Keita. And in the press conference, Coach Young was asked, should we read anything into that? And he said no. But that did look like a pretty good starting five, Matt, I must say.
Yes, it did. Hey, other guys that I thought showed well, Dawson Baker looked healthy.
He did.
And he's a playmaker. This team, Mitch, when you contrast it against last year's team, there's 4 dudes at a minimum that you feel comfortable handling the basketball. It's not just the Dallin Hall show now. You touched on Demin. I thought Dawson Baker showed well in spots being the playmaker. Elijah Crawford had some nice moments in the first half. He had one play where he crossed over a dude, got into the lane, kicked into the corner for Trey Stewart for a 3. It just comes back to there's depth, there's options, and that makes the possibilities endless for this team because they can withstand injury and they can throw a lot of different lineups at opposing teams.
We haven't even touched him on Watt Mag.
Yeah.
Rutgers transfer.
Keba
Keita was as explosive a front court guy as I've seen. I mean, I've been watching BYU basketball since the 1-25 season in '96. It's almost 30 years ago. He's as explosive of a player. His kids just keep coming through. It's fine. I love it. Keba Keita was his explosive playmaking ability in a scrimmage. I'd be curious to see what that's going to look like in Big 12 play when he's go up against Hunter Dickinson and some of the bigs in the Big 12. I'm curious to see how this all comes together with this team. I still want to give them some leniency in non-conference play. The schedule's light, but I don't know if they're going to be the advanced metrics darling like last year's team where they just hit the ground running and they're blowing teams out by 50. I think this team.
But they could be, though.
They very well could because the schedule's weak in non-conference, and they could really build up those metrics once again. But you just love the potential long-term of this team. When you get to seasons in, if you stay healthy, this team's got a lot of possibilities.
I love the potential short-term as well, man.
Oh, yeah, no
question. This team is, we were, talking at press row. This team is at least 3 times more talented than last year's team, maybe more. It was eye-popping how much talent was on the floor at any given time. Now, chemistry's got to come, but from what Dallin Hall and Egor Demin had to say afterwards, Mitch, Dallin Hall, quote, said, Kevin Young brought in the right guys. There's no concern about chemistry. They're here to win.
Yeah.
This was just a unbelievable debut for BYU basketball.
It was impressive, and it was kind of fun to see some of the assistant coaches operate as head coaches. Saw Will Voigt, Tim Fanning lead the 2 teams in the first half of action. But it's a good staff too. You know, where you got Chris Burgess, you got John Linehan. You've got all these guys that just have these different paths in basketball. College, international, G League, Olympics. I mean, and it all comes together to create this new look, maybe innovative next wave of thinking college basketball team. And I think that's what's interesting about BYU is they got the potential to be kind of on the cutting edge, something that's new, a fresh look in this sport. And, you know, we see, you know, today we saw Ryan Smith, you know, prominent BYU fan.
Danny Ainge was here.
Danny Ainge was here. People are invested and committed to BYU basketball like never before because this program's got a lot of history, it's got a lot of tradition, yet there's so much untapped potential. Maybe this is the group that can untap and tap into that for the first time ever.
Yeah, and we'll have you covered all season long, KSLSports.com, Cougar Sports Saturday. So, look, this BYU basketball season is going to be a fun ride, and we'll be there all the way with you, Cougar Nation, for the first year of Kevin Young. So for Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte, keep following us on KSLSports.com.